Today I'm in Buckinghamshire, near Aylesbury, and I'm going to a place called Wotton Underwood, or Wotton House, and the gardens here were laid out by Capability Brown, and there's various features and all sorts in the gardens, so that's mainly what I'm going to be looking at. I think the house is privately owned now, so we won't really be able to look around the house or anything like that. But it should be pretty interesting, because this place, it's not very well known actually, but the garden's being laid out by Capability Brown and stuff like that. It should be quite interesting, because like I say, they're very little known actually. I think we found the place. Open today. There's a little lodge building on our left there. I'm guessing that's the house that we can just about start seeing on the left there. Although this house is privately owned now, so I don't think I'm going to be able to go around the house. I wonder if I go in there. I think this is the way. Oh, there's a rabbit there. So this is Wotton House. Like I say, this is a private residence now, so we can't actually get a tour inside the house. There was an older house here built between around 1704 to 1714, but it was much rebuilt by Sir John Soane in the 1820s. Like I said before, this house and gardens are really not very well known at all. They're a bit of a secret, and Tony Blair actually lived here previously, and Sir John Gielgud has also lived here. But like I say, we're not here for the house today really. We're here for the gardens and pleasure grounds, which look down here. So this front lawn goes straight down. You got an avenue of trees, and then you got a big lake at the bottom, and that's just this view that we can see here. And like I say, these were laid out by Capability Brown, and you might be able to hear and see there's a lot of sheep grazing as well. This is perfect here, because it gives me an example to show you how the ha-ha works. So we come down here, and you can see there's a brick wall here with a dip, and then just as we go along, Mr. Sheep, he might want to get up to by the house, but he can't get up there now because there's a brick wall in this ditch. But then the ha-ha obviously saves you having to put a fence up, which would be unsightly when you're looking out from the house. So that's how they work. And there's the house back up there, with no sheep on the lawn. But then if you wanted to get down into the park from the front lawn, You got these old steps here and the gate. Those sheep are making full use of the shelter from those trees down there. What a gorgeous day as well. And like I say, this place is quite a well kept secret. And I only found it by chance. It was just mentioned at the back end of a sentence when I was reading a book about something. So I tried to do a bit more research. And I found out just about enough information to see when it opened and stuff like that. Oh, look at the little lambs. And I found out that the gardens here, they're only open between 2 and 5 PM on a Wednesday, obviously during the summer months. And I think they open on a couple of bank holidays, but that's about it. And like I say, they don't really advertise or anything, so it's a bit of a hidden gem, this is really. And I was met by the estate manager at the front gate, and it was only £10 to get in. So it's definitely worth it for having a little explore around. First thing we come to is the end of this lake here, with the swan in the middle. And I got given this little map just to find my way around. As you can see, there's quite a few features to see. It's like being in your own secluded little paradise, this is. I was the only visitor there as well at the gates. And like I've said, the pleasure grounds here were believed to have been designed by Capability Brown during the 1750s, possibly with a bit of earlier advice in the 1730s by William Pitt, 1st Earl of Chatham. And this estate, Wotton Underwood, was owned by the Grenville family, who also owned Stowe, which is not far away from here, and which I've covered in an earlier video. And work done at Stowe was by people including Charles Bridgman, John Vanbrugh, William Kent and James Gibbs. So it's not outside the realms of possibility that they might have advised on some of the garden buildings and stuff here as well. And so, this first big lake we get to is called the Worrells. And at this end of the lake, we've actually got 2 Tuscan temples. One that's in the distance over there, and then one that's right next to me here. And these were originally built in the 1750s, but have been repaired during the 1980s. And these are Grade 2 listed. As you can see, it's a nice garden seat. You could relax and have a nice look out onto the lake. And the portico is actually made of wood. And at the rear there's more columns here. I'll just go and have a quick nosy at the other one. Oh. But wait there a second, let me turn around, look at the view from the house up here. Wow. Let's get the zoom camcorder on the go. What a view. Here's the other one. Looks exactly the same as the one at the other side. And go back to the other side now and get back on the circuit. So when the likes of Capability Brown were laying out their gardens, they would quite often build them in circuits, so that when there were sort of visitors to the house or whatever, they could show off the estate by following a certain route. And they would fill these routes with incidents, which were basically garden buildings and follies and stuff like that, so that as you walked around, the visitors had various interesting things to look at. And here's another one, some kind of garden urn. I'm not sure if it's like dedicated to anyone or anything like that. And what's this peeping through the trees in the distance? There's a stone bridge down there. Let's go a bit further and find out. So apparently this is called the Five Arched Bridge. And this also dates to the 1750s, and it's listed at grade 2. And apparently this was designed by Sanderson Miller. And according to what I've read, this is modelled on William Kent's Shell Bridge at Stowe. Very peaceful down here. You might be able to see the house in the distance again. And then there's a bridge in the distance down there, in the middle. And this is what they call the Palladium Bridge, but it's actually a wooden late 20th century reconstruction. And as you can see, it appears to be in a dangerous state at the moment. So one day I'm sure they're hoping to do some kind of reconstruction or something else. Moving on a bit further now. And apparently this should be an urn here. Yeah, so that's very similar to the one we saw a little bit earlier. These urns were quite popular on 18th century estates with sort of a classical design. And as we move on, there should be something called the octagon coming up shortly. Hello, Mr. Swan. Okay, so this must be the octagon. So this is a garden pavilion with a bit of classical decoration up there, as you can see. So this also would have been built in the 18th century originally. But from what I've read, it was rebuilt in the 1990s. And just through the trees you can just about see the house in the distance. And that clump of trees in the lake there, that's called Grotto Island, and apparently there's an old grotto on there, but I'm guessing we can't actually get to it. Obviously if I find a little view through the trees, I'll try and get a picture of it or something. So this garden circuit basically follows its way around massive pools of water. It's just pretty beautiful really. And in the distance I can see two features from here, so I'm just going to get my zoom camera out, take some pictures and stuff. Let's get on the zoom camcorder again. So this first one's going to be a bridge over that gap between the clumps of trees. And then over here we've got the rotunda. This looks like it might be a little fishing area or something down here, with a few boats. Alright, so on the map this is called Malay Hut. I'm not sure why, maybe it resembles a Malaysian hut or something like that. I don't know. It's got a thatched roof there. Yeah, that don't look very safe down there. There is a caution sign on the side of the building there, to be fair. The door does open slightly to it, but I'm not going to go in. Poke my camera in. And we continue to move around the circuit. And that rotunda's in the distance again, poking through the trees. In the distance now I can see another building. It looks from here like some sort of Chinese building. And this here, right next to the end of the lake, this is called the Neptune statue. It's hard for me to get a good view of without falling in the water. Now I think that appears to be a dolphin, but apparently that was part of a much bigger statue from between about 1771 and 1789, and that's obviously carved stone. Through these woods here, a bit further up, we come to that bridge that I saw in the distance earlier. And apparently this is late 20th century. Don't know what that sign would have said. I'm sure it would have said no entry. But strange bridge, very steep. And obviously they don't want us to go up there. And to be honest, I think I would have been a bit worried going over there. I'm not a fan of heights anyway, so. Strange bridge. I was sort of looking forward to going over there though. And also apparently there was a good view from the top of there to the grotto, on that grotto island that I said I couldn't get to earlier. And here we are, coming up to the rotunda. Can't beat a good classical rotunda. And this particular rotunda is grade 2 listed, and it has 10 columns. And as you can see, it's placed very nicely, looking out onto the lake. And this was also built in the 1750s, but then later restored in the late 20th century. And as you can see, there's an urn placed in the middle of this. And this has moulded Ionic capitals and entablature. Yeah, very nice indeed. Nice view, one of the big lakes in the parkland here. And we shall move on. I do like the way they used to design these circuits with follies dotted all around them. And this one is laid out really clearly, and it reminds me actually of the way it would have been at the one at Hagley Park in the West Midlands, although that one's lost a lot of its features now. And I can see that we're coming up to another feature shortly. And this is called the Turkish tent, or the Turkey building. And as you can see, it's in an oriental style. And this again would date from the 1750s, but was restored in the late 20th century. And this is also Grade 2 listed. Here's the other side of that bridge that I was at earlier. This is quite a view from down here. So, this has been Wotton Underwood, and it's a bit of a hidden gem. So I'd definitely recommend a visit if you get a chance. And once again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it as usual, and I shall see you next time.